And welcome into the Thursday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, how we doing? What's going on?
We're doing okay. Trying to brighten up the not do Blair Witch Project today. Although I appreciated the jokes yesterday, folks.
Some good tweets
They were funny
yesterday about it too. It's
There
good
were.
stuff.
There were.
Very good stuff.
Yes.
Ian Safar, how we
Good
doing?
movie.
Yeah. Ian, how we doing?
Good morning. Doing great, thanks. Looking forward to a fantastic Thursday. How about it? A little chilly out there though.
It was.
So make sure you have your jacket handy. Tricky weather, cool in the morning, sun comes out, nice during the afternoon. So, prepare accordingly.
Yeah. Get up in the morning, it's like 43. So I'm like, well, let's put on a lot of long sleeve pants, all these things. And then I go do other things in the afternoon, and it's like, oh, it's like 77, and I'm burning up out here. Good stuff. Love it.
Yeah. It is a little bit. It can fool you both ways, but I'll take whatever. I'm in a very much colder place right now, so it might get to 48 today for a high.
Oh,
so
good.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. Glad people live there.
I'll take yeah. I know. I don't know what they're thinking, but they do.
We got a lot going on in the program today. Andrew Brunette will be with us at 7:30. The Preds are back in action tonight, taking on Vancouver. Charles Robinson at 8 o'clock from Yahoo Sports, and we'll get into the Titans and all things NFL with him. The best and worst things in sports coming up later this hour at 6:45. But Joe, we begin a decision finally made by Tony Vitello, and he will become the next manager of the San Francisco Giants. So not necessarily a surprising end result to all this. The process took a little longer to get there, but Tony Vitello gone from Tennessee and will be the next manager of the San Francisco Giants. Frank Anderson has been named the interim the interim head coach by Danny White, and now a coaching search beginning for Tennessee baseball, with a lot of Tennessee fans hoping that the coaching search basically ends up with Elander being the coach at the end of the day. But we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But, Joe, now that it's official, what do you make of Vitello to the Giants and what this means for him and the opportunity of now him going to Major League Baseball, where there were conflicting reports yesterday, by the way. Bob Nightingale and others were throwing it out there that he took a pay cut, and then Chris Lowe was like, no, he took a significant pay raise to go to the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, and others who cover it. Mike Wilson was on that too. Like, no, guys, he did not. That really surprised me. Like, Bob Nightingale's a really good, he's been covering MLB forever. And so, when I saw that, I was like, what? Really? Because that's not the information that I was getting, like, from our people, who cover MLB. And then, yeah, Chris Lowe kind of dunks on it. It's like, I mean, look, I think you could still, I guess, make the case. It's it's a Major League Baseball managerial job, and so if you do well, then you can bump it up. But yeah, like, it didn't really make sense that it would be a pay cut, especially because when you consider the difference in cost of living from Knoxville to San Fran. I mean, the pay raise is still going to have limitations depending on how much it is. But it's a crazy story. But it's like, even like writing a column about it, by the end of it, I was like, actually, this could work. But at first, it's like, that's stupid. What? I mean, I like, really, you could make the case like he would be like the last college coach you would think would do this, or be of interest, just because of like how you think of Major League. Well, first of all, like, no one ever does this, right? Like, there's some conflicting things on that, but basically, I guess Dick Hauser, I guess, went from Florida State to the Yankees. Someone put that out there yesterday.
I'll take your word for it.
Like in the 70s. But basically, this doesn't happen, especially when when you've had no pro experience. And he just, his demeanor and just he's a college guy, right? To me, and even in college baseball, they're like, dude, you're a little too much for this stuff, bro. So now he's going to take it to MLB. But you think about it, and it's like, I mean, yes, there's older guys. It's not all kids. It's a different situation. Recruiting's not part of it, so that strength of his doesn't really matter. But I mean, he obviously must be pretty good, like with baseball coaching and with building a locker room, right? And getting, I mean, and look, there's a lot of Vols, and again, Drew Gilbert is, I think, was an important figure in this whole thing with getting Tennessee. So don't be mad at him too, Vols fans. But it's just it's quite a story. It's quite a stunner. But also, I mean, I can't wait to see it, and I could see him. I could see him being a success there. All the guy does is win.
Well, it's interesting. Max Scherzer, who has a relationship with Vitello, was talking to Ken Rosenthal, and he was talking about, the intensity and all these things, and thinks that it's going to work in Major League Baseball. And one of the things he says was like communication skills. He said he makes it relatable. He's a player's guy, makes you want to run through a brick wall for him. And he was perfect for me when I was in college. And they worked together, obviously, when Scherzer was at Missouri there. So that's a pretty big voice in Major League Baseball, who, by the way, is getting ready for another World Series, that thinks that Tony Vitello is going to do a good job in San Francisco. I'm really interested to see how it goes. Like, obviously, he's a really, really good program builder and college baseball coach. What's that going to look like in Major League Baseball? I'll say this, as a Tennessee fan who was, obviously, casually following their baseball, I will probably now casually follow San Francisco Giants baseball. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be sitting up there watching, the late game of the Giants playing at night, but I will at least be very interested in what they're doing, which for me personally is probably more than I could say about any other baseball team in Major League Baseball right now. So
there you go.
Am I a Giants fan? I wouldn't say that, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I'm a Warriors fan, and now you can be a Giants fan, and
sure.
But I guess Ian, if you want to be a Niners fan, there you go. We can, we can talk about
Sharks.
San Fran sports like we talk about. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I'm not a big Shanahan guy. Seems like kind of a jerk.
Ian's out. He's not doing it. Joe just tried to mute himself and then unmuted and sneezed into the microphone. We're off to a great start on the program this morning.
Yeah, that was great. Great job by me. The Shanahan thing threw me off.
Yeah, boy. Right in the mic. Ah, chew! Just beautiful.
Sorry
it was
about
good.
that.
I think it was worth it. It was the greatest thing that's happened on the show so far.
Oh boy. Yeah.
What were we talking about? Tony Vitello?
Tony Vitello. Yeah. So tough for Vols fans for sure. I think we've talked about it many times and talked to him about it. I think that he, as far as just a personality for Tennessee fans, I mean, the guy just, Tennessee fans just love the guy. And yes, of course, it has a lot to do with just winning like he did, but also the guy's hilarious. I mean, he made it fun. Friend of the show, made it fun. I was going through some of the old stuff with him, and it's like, good God. I mean, that thing, the 7-minute opening statement he had, like I guess it was after they beat Evansville to get to the College World Series, right? Like Noah Webster. I mean, I was like, what are you talking about, buddy? It was the weirdest thing.
I swear I'm not on drugs.
Yeah. Oh God, just good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I know it's tough for Tennessee fans. But look, he has, I mean, think about it. Like baseball was just a non-entity.
Yeah. I think we've lost Rexrode for a second. So on that front, 615-737.
Now it's on Tennessee to continue that.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Vitello to the Giants. Where does Tennessee go from here? And do fans want Danny White fired? How many of them? We'll get into all that coming up next. Spicy on Vol Twitter. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. Tony Vitello to the Giants, and that leaves an opening for Tennessee baseball. So, Joe, let's start there. Where do you think things go from here on the Tennessee baseball front? It's not necessarily a great time to be looking for a coach. Doesn't typically happen in mid to late October when it comes to looking for a baseball coach. So, what do you make of that part of it? And then we will get to the Danny White part of this after that, because there's a certain subsection of Tennessee fans that are very mad at him. So where do you think Tennessee baseball goes from here?
Well, I think Josh Elander makes sense. I know some people talk about Frank Anderson, the pitching coach. That's not going to happen. He doesn't want to do it. He won't do it. So I mean, Frank Anderson has been a head coach. In fact, I don't know. I guess Frank Anderson, it would be huge for Tennessee if they could keep him, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal. So it's like, I think Josh Elander makes sense. I think he's the next up and coming guy on the staff. You maintain the program. Huge thing, though, is to keep Frank Anderson. Frank Anderson was a huge coup for Tony when he got the job. And of course, Frank Anderson has been the Oklahoma State head coach in the past. He hates media. He hates doing media. I did do one interview with him once. It was like, oh my God, you were actually going to talk? No way, dude. And he was great, but he doesn't like to deal with that crap. He just likes to coach players, and it's a huge deal. If they're going to keep Elander, that could be good, but you got to keep Frank. And I mean, he's up. I don't know his exact age right off the top of my head. I'll find it here, but that's a big thing. I think if you can do that, and if Frank will stay on, then I think you can keep this rolling. And I think that's the way to do it. But there are other. Someone texted me last night about a very prominent college baseball coach who apparently wants the job. Now,
Kurt Schilling wants it, apparently.
Apparently, Kurt Schilling wants the job too. So
he follows me on Twitter. I'll DM him, see what he's going to do to build the program.
Oh, that's right. He follows you, doesn't he?
Very interested in the Predators lines. He'll message me every now and then. Who's playing tonight?
Okay, so where does he live?
I don't know. I think at one point it was here, but I don't know that.
So Frank Anderson, 66. I'm trying to think. Like, we got Kurt Schilling. I mean, I'm just wondering if he lives out my way. We got Kurt Schilling. We got Rex Ryan. We got Rex Ryan. And we know how he enjoys feet. Kurt Schilling has the bloody feet. I mean, my God, we got all kinds of stuff going on.
I think I have a foot thing.
But look, you could go out and probably potentially lure another head coach from another place. But yeah, I think that how often does it work? That a prominent program in college sports loses a really, really successful coach, and then like the top assistant steps in and it works.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Like, Elander specifically, very good recruiter. That's what all the buzz is out of Knoxville. He's really good on the recruiting front. So if you're looking to kind of keep things rolling that way, like that's probably the way I go. If I was Danny White, I probably wouldn't overthink this. Like, you can go try to make some big splash hire in mid to late October and see how that works for you. And I guess try to lure somebody away. But I would probably just go with what you've got right now and see how he does as head coach. And maybe 2-3 years down the road, you need to reevaluate at that point. I have no idea. That's probably where I would start. I mentioned Danny White. There's some Vols fans that are really mad at him. And Joe, I think a lot of it, there's all the women's basketball stuff, and he was at his press conference yesterday basically talking about, it's like, everybody needs to make an apology to Kim Caldwell right now. Who's reporting all this? Like, everyone make an apology to Kim Caldwell. There's that stuff. Honestly, Joe, my read on the fan base part of this, a lot of people who are upset with Danny White right now, the conversation eventually kind of all goes back to the same thing. and that is the talent fee and how much it costs now to go to games all over the place over there. That's where I think the genesis of this anger kind of really starts, with the subsection of Tennessee fans that are really mad at Danny White and want to see him go.
That's interesting. I get that. That's interesting though. I guess I wouldn't have realized that. Yeah, I mean, I think some look, some Tennessee fans. I had some, excuse me, someone slacked me last night. They're like, so he was like, so do Tennessee fans actually think that like the Tennessee baseball job is as good as the San Francisco Giants job in baseball? And I'm like, well, look, college baseball is big out here. Like, a lot of the country doesn't understand how much people care about college baseball. I mean, I think there's some people in MLB in the last few days who've been like, what the hell is happening here?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, man,
like
these people care.
Like,
and
are there
so
people making fake San Francisco Giant accounts out here? What's going on?
But yeah, the anger. First of all, the Danny White thing, that was kind of ridiculous. It's like, it was a rumor, so someone must have reported it. It's like, really?
You met your fan base?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that must be it, Danny. Yes, all stupid rumors must have originated with an actual report. What? I mean, and again, look, obviously, if anybody's like mad at Kim Caldwell or whatever, and I'm sure there's stuff on the message boards that have like totally made up some scenario where people are screaming at each other, right? But like, look, I still absolutely believe that it makes it tougher at the play. I mean, people got mad yesterday about this, but I mean, I'm sorry. It's a reality that these coaches at all these programs at times are like fighting for resources, and it's more than ever now because of the resources include paying the players. I mean, that's so yeah, like anybody getting mad at Kim Caldwell, or that's stupid. Mad at Danny White. I mean, again, I think when it really comes down to it, man, like, how do you turn down the San Francisco Giants? Like, and what are you going to give him? Like, are you just going to give him? I mean, he's already
paid $6 million.
Yeah, he's already the second highest paid guy. I mean, $3 million is they gave him a ton, and the stadium. Look at the transformation of that place and everything. So, at some point it's and I really think that's what it came down to here. I know there's a lot of back and forth, like, okay, well, what this booster's going to get with him and be like, well, what can we do? But ultimately, it's the San Francisco Giants. There's a chance of being MLB. And as you said the other day, I mean, if it doesn't work out, he will be someone's head coach in college baseball, the snap of a finger. I mean, people will be clamoring to get him back.
No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, look, Tennessee, we've talked about this before. It's a gigantic fan base. When you have a big fan base like that, you're going to find pretty much every opinion there is to find out there when it comes to this stuff. And it's no different at, Ohio State. No, it's like all these big schools, these big public schools that have giant fan bases. There's some crazy stuff that goes on out there. Now, Vol Twitter may be its own special thing. Like, it's a special place, as you know. I will say the fans that are like the combo this week of let's fire Danny White and Josh Heupel, you probably need to dial it back a little bit. Like, I mean, let's remember what all is going on here. I understand that Danny White, and you can be mad at Danny White about this if you want, and look, it's your money, so you can be mad at whoever you want to be mad at, but that's just the reality of college sports right now. Like, all these athletic directors are trying to get as much money into their programs as possible because it's basically an arms race with money. So like the talent fee, all these things, as long as people will pay it, they're going to do it. So that's what it is when it comes to the athletic director part of it. And on the Heupel front, I don't think this is a very, very large portion of the Tennessee fan base, but he has been getting some heat this week after losing to Alabama. And it's like, all right, guys, they've lost 2 games. They're still in the conversation for the college football playoff. Go look at Heupel's entire tenure of what he's done here to this point. He is not close, nor should he be close to being on the hot seat.
No question. Yeah. And look, and that doesn't mean that people can't be mad at the performance or at some of, we've talked about his clock management. I mean, it's not perfect. Like, it's fine to be upset, but like everything doesn't have to go from 0 to fired. I feel like I feel like more than ever in college football, people go from zero to fired. I mean, it's all over the country. And again, in some cases, it's like Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. It's early, but I mean, I can't argue with that. And we saw what happened with James Franklin. But again, James Franklin, that was years and years of not getting over the hump, and then all of a sudden you kind of collapse, and it wasn't as sudden as I think it kind of seemed. I mean, with Josh Heupel, I mean, again, you have to keep in context like what he inherited and what Tennessee has been through, and at some point, like you need to see the next steps. But I actually think this year, and we'll see how it goes, but overall this year, I mean, it looks better than I thought it was going to look this year. I mean, Alabama's really good. Like Alabama, as crazy as it is after the first game against Florida State, like they might be as good as anyone now.
Yeah. By the way, apparently Kurt Schilling lives in Fairview, so shout out to Kurt Schilling, local resident.
Okay, Fairview, there you go. Not a bad little commute to Knoxville. Get out there, get the play little get the infield going, right?
Yeah, hop on the interstate,
going,
stop at the Buc-ee's,
sure,
and go play some ball. That's what you can do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. The best and worst things in sports coming up later this hour at 6:45. We'll go ahead and take those on our text line. I got a question this week for Rexrode coming up next, that when it comes to the college game and the pro game should be a no-brainer, but I don't think that it is. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. The best and worst things in sports. Coming up later this hour at 6:45, we'll take your best things, your worst things on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, I got a question for you. And you look at it on the surface, and it's college football compared to the NFL. So the natural response, I think, for most people would be, well, it's the NFL, man. Like, any given Sunday, we see quote-unquote upsets in the NFL all the time because everybody's professional and, every team's good. We hear that all the time from players around the league. It's the NFL, man. Every team's good out here. Having said that, Titans are 14.5-point underdogs to the Indianapolis Colts this week on the road. 14.5, which is just a huge line in the NFL. A huge line. And we're going to get into this later, but Jeff Simmons is week to week. L'Jarius Sneed is, quote, going to miss some time. So Lord knows what that means. It's shaping up to be a real special Sunday for the Titans coming up on Sunday. And on the other hand, you've got Tennessee traveling to Kentucky to take on the Wildcats, who, to their credit, they took Texas to overtime last weekend, almost got the win. I don't know if that says more about Kentucky or says more about Texas, but we'll see. Tennessee opened as a 9.5-point favorite on the road against Kentucky. It is now down to 7.5. So some of the money coming in on Kentucky. If you know the history of that, Joe, Tennessee, for whatever reason, has just totally dominated Kentucky throughout their history. Totally.
Mostly because Kentucky's cheeks,
well,
right?
Mostly that. So, and, Kentucky hasn't won an SEC game this year. They're not very good. I have no idea what they're going to do, but it looks like the end is near for Mark Stoops here when it comes to all that as well. So you got all that in the backdrop. So my question to you is pretty simple this week. What do you think is more likely? The Titans beating the Colts or the Kentucky Wildcats taking down Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Vols this week?
Yeah, I love this question. Great idea. It's to me, it's easy. It's Kentucky. Kentucky.
Jeez, what does that tell you?
I know, but like Kentucky, I watched a pretty good chunk of. I watched the second half and overtime of Kentucky Texas last week, and look, some of it just comes down to like Arch. Holy cow! It's just not good. It's the accuracy, the consistency, man. They're just not there. But still, Kentucky plays D. They play D. They're tough. They're physical. They gave Ole Miss a tough game. They've had some stinkers too, but their defense keeps them in games. Now, again, it hasn't really mattered much with this Tennessee offense. Even bad versions of the Tennessee offense, in the last couple of years have pretty much had their way with Kentucky. So I don't like Kentucky's chances at all to beat the Vols. But, even though it's the NFL, like, the Colts are seriously good.
I know.
They're seriously good. Like their offense is, it really is amazing how much fun we made of them for all this stuff, including, Daniel Jones and everything. And it's like, man, they've kind of quietly, they have drafted like a lot of guys who are good players. Like they don't have stars on offense, but they have a lot of guys who can play. Excuse me, who can make play. And then Jonathan Taylor is a star. If he's healthy, I don't think people talk enough about him in terms of the best backs in the NFL. So I just think they're going to absolutely blow the doors off the Titans Sunday. Like I don't see another way around that. And again, like usually in the NFL, even if there's a perceived mismatch, you have to, the team you think might get smoked. Like they've got talent. It's the NFL. No, this is a blowout. 14.5 is too small.
This is I'm not going to say we're going to quote unquote find out a lot about Tennessee in this game, but the circumstances heading into it, like this is a game where Tennessee really needs to go out there and handle their business. Like you got Oklahoma coming in next week, which we know is going to be a massive game. So I guess there could be, is there a fear of a trap game walking into this? It is a rivalry game, all those things. Tennessee, you feel good about their offense. Tennessee has scored 309 points this year, which is the most in the SEC. As we know, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the country. Kentucky has put up 135. Like, their offense is bad. They got a bad offense. Tennessee's defense has struggled this year, but you would figure that this is a matchup. If there's a matchup in the SEC where Tennessee's defense should look pretty good, it's probably this one. Like, they need to go out there and look pretty good. So it's interesting to me that the money's coming in on Kentucky a little bit, right? Like I mentioned, 9.5 to open, and now it's down to 7.5. We'll see where that line ends up by the time Saturday comes around. But I would think, specifically defensively for Tennessee, this should be a matchup where they thrive, getting after the quarterback. They were better at stopping the run last week against Alabama. They just didn't get, totally gashed like they did the week before. So I'm very interested to see how their defense comes out in this game. You're right. Kentucky has played well defensively. I think Tennessee's offense still should be able to put up a pretty good amount of points in this game.
Yeah. And I'm assuming just maybe Kentucky played so well against Texas. Tennessee didn't look great. Maybe that just has something to do with some people, betting on Kentucky to cover here. But I'm with you. This is defensively, this is a get right game for Tennessee. And there's just really there's no reason that Kentucky should hit 20 points in this game. That should not happen. And there's also even with Kentucky's defense, I still expect Tennessee to get into the 30s. Maybe more like 31 or even 28-31, something like that. But no, I think that they should handle business. And if it gets to be excuse me, to a close game, to a fourth quarter game, that's a little bit alarming, frankly.
Multiple people pointing out Kentucky would beat the Titans. Ed asking the third option, is it more likely Kentucky would beat the Titans on Sunday? So I guess we could throw that out there. Is Kentucky ready to compete with the Tennessee Titans? I don't think so on that front, but it is a sad commentary. Like, walking into an NFL game, again, a 14.5 point spread in the NFL is a large one. And Corey Curtis said this the other day. And the more I look at the matchup and who's going to be out for the Titans, the more I kind of agree. Like, Corey was like, yeah, you could put that line at 21 and I would still probably take it. Like that's just where things kind of feel like they're headed with Titans and Colts this week.
Yeah. And sometimes in the NFL, you think that, and again, you're reminded that it's the NFL.
Right.
This happens. I can't see it. I just can't see it. I think like the Titans, if they execute, again, these teams they played it was relatively competitive. If the Titans execute, I think that they could do some things offensively against the Colts. Like, that's possible. It's weird. Like, it's when you like the Titans offensive matchup better going into a game, that tells you something. But like, I don't like you take week to week is Simmons, and then Snead is out for a while. So like, if Simmons is week to week, first of all, boy, every week that he's out, good luck.
I'd start Jonathan Taylor this week if you got him.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But then, so Snead, I guess, like, does that mean he's out? Like, just for the? I bet you we don't see Snead play another snap for the Titans.
I would agree.
But their defense, I don't see. I know that Sweat's back, so that helps some, but it does not replace what Simmons was doing for this defense. And like we've talked about, Cody Barton, he's probably one of the. Probably just because I thought, based on like the preseason and stuff, it was going to be a good ad. And it's not like he's been just completely terrible, but it's been disappointing. There's just other than Gray out there, and you do have, like, Ward is getting a little bit of pass rush juice going. Draymond Jones every once in a while, but it's just, I think it's just going to be like, I think the Colts are going to get into the 40s.
Yeah, I think that definitely is on the table. What do you, real quick on the Mark Stoops front, where do you think this is all heading with him at Kentucky?
That's a good question. I think, Kentucky fans are out on him, I think, largely. So, again, it's a big number. I don't remember. I don't have the number available. It's a big number, buyout wise, in terms of firing him. So, and he has, he's flirted with other jobs, Texas A&M. Other people have been interested in him, but I know that like John Summerall, obviously he's a Kentucky player. He's one of the hot names, not just for like Kentucky, but for a lot of programs. That his name is out there, and so there's this like we can't let some other program hire John Summerall when it should be us hiring John Summerall. So there's that element to it also. So I kind of feel like this is going to be it. It's just a question of are they actually going to fire him?
Right.
I mean he's done. Like again, it's like you got to have the context on what he's done and what he took over and what that program has been, for most of time. It's pretty remarkable what he's done, but also like the program does not have momentum at all right now.
It's time for the best and worst things in sports. We'll take your best things, your worst things on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. That is coming up next. Vandy fans, it's time to party, baby. Commodores are ranked in the top 10, and ESPN's College Game Day coming to Nashville. And to celebrate 102.5 The Game, we'll be broadcasting live tomorrow from noon to 6 at the new Party Foul near Vandy in Midtown at 2031 Broadway. Plus, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to the sold-out game against Missouri this Saturday. So come on out to the all-new Party Foul in Midtown tomorrow from noon to 6. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
The best and worst of the sports week. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is the worst. You look like you're feeling sorry for yourself. I believe in miracles. Yes! Unbelievable.
He's one of one. He is him.
This is a Coke bottle. It's not a crystal ball.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Okay, let's go.
It is that time of the week. The best and worst things in sports. We'll take your best things, your worst things on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, kick us off with the best and worst things in the world of sports.
Okay, well, my best is the NBA. It's been pretty awesome immediately, but specifically, did you see Victor Wembanyama last night?
Yeah, he's pretty freaky.
You can see like he actually now has he put a little bit of weight on the upper body. I mean, that drive on the baseline to a reverse dunk, I don't know that I've seen anyone who can do that ever in basketball. He goes for 40 and 15. He's out there throwing shots and then going out there crossing people over, hitting three at the other. I tell you what, man, it is. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him.
Only one assist. Very selfish.
There you go. Good point. They blow out the Mavs on the road. And by the way, Cooper Flagg in his debut, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Cooper Flagg's going to be a good player, but like the people who think like Cooper Flagg is like, he's not like he was an amazing, 1-year college player. He's going to be a good NBA player. He's not going to be like some superstar. I don't know why people have thought that. And again, I'm not sitting here saying based on one game but it's just, he's going to be a good player. Victor Wembanyama, like, watch out, man. It is crazy, the combination of everything that he has. But the NBA, great start. Dubs look good. That's my best. My worst is Vitello. Good for him. Good for the Giants. Good for Major League Baseball. It's going to be fun. But I feel bad for Tennessee fans, and also for us. The Vanderbilt Tennessee thing. It's still going to be a rivalry, but that he brought so much to that and made it so must see, right? And again, it's not like he and Tim Corbin were like actively barking at each other or anything, but it was just such a great contrast of personalities, and such a great rivalry. And I assume Vanderbilt fans are not sad to see him go, but you got to be a little sad, right? That we're not going to get any more Vitello Corbin.
Tim Corbin did tell Adam Sparks that he was happy for Tony Vitello.
I saw that.
Happy for him.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm going to assume that was via text.
Was that Sparks or Aria? I think it was Aria.
Okay.
And Sparks.
Well, Sparks tweeted. Sparks tweet I saw. So
yeah.
Bad job by me. Sorry.
That's okay.
Ian Safar, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
To piggyback off of Joe, a little bit of the NBA, but specifically just the fact we get to hear this music now.
Here we go.
Again, little NBA on NBC action. I know that brings me back to the glory days of the 90s. Just to have this back on the regular basis.
I love Tirico, by the way.
So I do like Tirico. Yeah. I'm interested to hear more on some NBA play-by-play, but I do like Tirico. Class guy. Grew up down the street from my dad, actually, in Queens. Yeah. Believe it or not. But yeah, doing good. So yeah, best for sure. Worst, I got a couple here. One, Woody Johnson and the Jets, and it's just absolute clown show, which of course, but his comments and the whole Justin Fields and the quarterback situation, like
he did not hold back.
Just, get out of here already, man. You want to know?
Catch me up. Give me a quick, because I missed it.
He basically in defending Aaron Glenn was like, yeah, Justin Fields sucks.
It's hard. He's pretty much right. Like, it's hard on your head coach when your quarterback can't complete a pass.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay,
not necessarily wrong, but not something you see an owner do very often.
What you want to do there. And then this whole, I heard a clip of Saban on game day from DVD. His hate for Vandy is a little over the top.
He doesn't like Vanderbilt. There's
This
no
whole
doubt.
like complete disrespect of Vandy on College Game Day and saying, "Oh, I can't buy into the fact that these guys are actually relevant and they're not a doormat like they used to be in Vandy." I cannot wrap my head around that. There's no way LSU is going to get back on track. Saban's a hater, so he's on my worst list this week.
There you go. Have some, Saban.
Wow.
What-
I
how we
missed
think-
that too.
How do we think that's going to go this week? Saban going to get booed out there? College Game Day? A lot of disrespect
That's
he's
a good
thrown.
question. Yeah, it is, especially what last year, right? Whatever he said about the stadium. What did he say? He was just like, yeah. I mean, again, it's
He said
like,
everywhere is a tough place to play, except Vanderbilt.
except Vanderbilt, right? Yeah. I think they should get after him.
I think so too.
Get after him, Doris fans.
My best thing in sports is Shane Beamer being exposed as a fraud for the world to see. It's a beautiful thing this year. South Carolina 3-4 overall. And Joe, let me just read off their next 3 games here. Home against Alabama, on the road against Ole Miss, on the road at Texas A&M. Boy, do they have some more losses coming here. It's going to be beautiful. They're probably not making a bowl game this year. At the end of the year, we're going to be treated to Clemson and South Carolina. And I don't know, either one of them going to be bowl eligible. I'm sure that Clemson will probably find a way to get to 6 wins at least. But think about the conversation on that game heading into the year, and then ultimately where it's going to end up. Shane Beamer's already basically crying after the post-game media sessions now. Can't wait to see how it goes the next 3 weeks, and you hate to see it so far. Shane Beamer being exposed as an absolute fraud. My best thing in sports right now. Know your thoughts.
That is absolutely beautiful. That's fantastic. First of all, I'm the moron who picked Penn State to win it all. Okay, so, but also I don't know if we talked about it, but I actively going into the year was like, dude, South Carolina Clemson this year, like it is going to be epic, man. You're talking about a title contender for sure in Clemson, and then I think a playoff team for sure in South Carolina, right? Or they're going to be a fringe player. That is a monster game, and it's actually like as buns as that game gets. Amazing.
My worst thing
And
in
I know
sports,
you're loving it.
Oh, yeah, I really hate to see it. My worst thing in sports, the Nashville Predators power play, which is converting currently at 8.3%. Now, I will give the caveat here. We're 7 games into an 82-game and what will one day be an 84-game NHL season. So there's still a lot of time here. A lot of time left to be, fixing things and working on things, tinkering things. Who knows? Maybe tonight the power play goes out there and scores a couple goals. But right now, it's awful. 8.3%, dead last in the league. So the worst thing in sports, the Nashville Predators power play. It has got to get better. And we will talk with Andrew Brunette later in the show at 7:30, and I'm sure that will come up. So we'll get his thoughts on all that. Real quick, let's roll through the text line. Zach says, best thing, the NBA on NBC broadcast. Also, he gives the Predators power play a vote for worst things in sports. Brian says, my best is Vols fans that are throwing a fit because their coach left for a much better job. Said, my worst would be the Titans, but I'm over them at this point, so it's the Preds. Looking like we're heading for another miserable season.
Yeah, I know. It's starting to, just the struggles to put the puck in the net, man. And again, it's like we need if we're gonna have a bad team in this town, can we have a bad team that just has a terrible defense?
Yeah,
but also still scores.
I got one.
That would be my wish.
We got another Brian on the text line says, best is all 4 major sports playing at the same time and the weather change. I mean, the 4 major sports playing at the same time. Great stuff. Says the worst, Joe Tessitore used to be a good announcer with his delivery, but now he's calling a 3-yard run like it was a Hail Mary with 0.3 seconds left. We've talked about this before. Look, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure that he does a good job. I can't stand it. Like I can't listen when Tessitore is calling game. Like it's way too over the top.
Yeah, he puts it on a little thick, It's like just save some of that, man. Like it's like the boy who cried wolf. If you're everything is always then nothing is that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's like legitimately like a 4-yard run. It's like, wow, look at the explosion on that play. It's like, well, you get 4 yards. Okay. Awesome. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We will get into the Titans The injury report is out from Wednesday. An update from Mike McCoy that does not look like it spells very good news for the Tennessee Titans. We'll get into all that and more. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will have Predators head coach Andrew Brunette with us later this hour at 7:30. They take on the Vancouver Canucks tonight, so we will catch up with him here in about 30 minutes. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports will be with us for his weekly visit at 8 o'clock, and we will get into the Titans and NFL headlines with him. So looking forward to all that. Joe, speaking of the Titans, some injury news yesterday that Mike McCoy updated. Mike McCoy says L'Jarius Sneed, quote, will miss some time moving forward with the quad injury that he sustained in Sunday's game against the Patriots. Jeffrey Simmons, week to week, dealing with the hamstring injury. So you're talking about Sneed missing some time, which, I mean, sounds like that could be a long-term thing. Kind of figured that at the time when he was walking off the field with the quad injury. We'll see how that shakes out. Jeffrey Simmons, a hamstring injury, did not practice yesterday and has been labeled week to week. By the way, Calvin Ridley also dealing with a hamstring. He did not practice yesterday either. So we'll see how that goes throughout the rest of this week and whether or not he's able to get out there. Arden Key dealing with a quad injury as well. He did not practice. So the Titans are down bad when it comes to injuries right now, Joe, especially, it's not like they've got some crazy number of guys that are hurt, but the guys who are hurt are some of their key players on a team that doesn't have very many key players, and that is not shaping up well against the Indianapolis Colts, who, as we mentioned earlier in the show, are a 14.5-point favorite against the Titans. So, Joe, when you look at this with L'Jarius Sneed out for what appears to be a lengthy period of time. Now, some Titans fans have said, well, maybe that's a good thing if he's out for a lengthy period of time. But he's out. Simmons is week to week, and Calvin Ridley didn't practice yesterday. That's not good for the Titans. And let's say all three of those guys can't play. Let's say we know at this point Simmons and Sneed probably aren't playing. Let's say Ridley can't go this week. What are we going to be looking at on Sunday with this Titans team with those three guys out?
Restrepo dominating. That's my guess.
There was some practice video of him yesterday that Kuharski put out there. It looked pretty good.
Watch out, baby. No, it's bad. The thing about Sneed is, the Sneed thing, it's just been terrible. But like for the mistakes and all that stuff, still, if you're the Titans, if you're Denard Wilson, if you're anybody over there, you'd much rather have him available and on the field. I mean, there's still a lot of plays that weren't made that will be much easier to make because you have the guys behind him on the field, right? Like it's just, you're looking pretty rough at corner. And again, he not saying he was good or anything like that, but like he's still a talented, effective player who, like, for a lot of a game can cover someone, can eliminate things, and that's out of there. And Simmons is playing the best football. I don't know if he's playing the best football of his career. I don't know about that.
I think
there's been some. He might be. Like, there's some talk about, around the league, like, is he the best D tackle in the league right now? He's certainly up there. And yeah, like maybe this is it was just as simple as just slim down and get that quickness, and doesn't seem to have lost any power. And so you take that out of there. And again, it's like, you have to double him. And even though he complained about it too much, I mean, you had to even before, the last couple of years when he wasn't at his best, you still had to double him. Now it's like, you have to devote a lot of attention to him. And so you take that out of the mix, and how much more pedestrian does everybody else look because he's not on the field? We'll find out Sunday.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. And it's just that I think the Colts are going to run at will, and they're going to throw at will, and it's going to be ugly. So the Titans, you look at where this could go. It's not like even if they were on the field, I'd be picking them to win too many of these games, but find the wins, on this schedule. Even like some of the stuff we thought going into the year at the late season that might be a little bit of a break doesn't look as much of a break now either.
Well, and you factor in the Titans have been a bad rush defense even with Jeffrey Simmons. Like, it's not been good. So now you take him out of there, and you're taking on the Colts, who are currently averaging 130 yards a game on the ground. And not just that, like if you've watched them this year, Jonathan Taylor's also been a pretty big factor in the passing game too. Like it's just it's not a good matchup for the Titans heading into this one. And it's crazy because you look at this and I think, I know I've been looking for it. I think a lot of people around the league have been looking for it too. It's like, okay, this has been a great story with Daniel Jones and the Colts, but when's it coming to an end? It kind of feels like Darnold, right? Like Darnold last year, it was like, that's a great story. He looks really good. When is he going to turn back into a pumpkin? And then ultimately he did in the last two games, the last game of the regular season and in the playoffs. Now, I would also say, Darnold looked pretty good so far this year. So,
he's good.
Yeah, like he's a pretty good player.
May not be great, but he's good.
And look, if Daniel Jones keeps playing this way, then the Colts have found their long-term answer at quarterback. Like that's what it's going to be as they move forward here. So we'll see what that looks like. But to your point earlier, it's not just Jones. Like they look like a pretty cohesive unit. I mean, look, they should be undefeated. They literally handed the game that they lost to the Rams. Like, I mean, A.D. Mitchell dropping the ball. So they should be undefeated heading into this game. It's remarkable how good they are and what they've done to this point. Like Shane Steichen, I think got to be coach of the year right now, right? Like a runaway.
Yeah, no, I would think so.
Him and Vrabel. Let's get it.
And the Vrabster.
Ooh, yeah, maybe Vrabes can get in there. But yeah, I think right now Steichen would be like relative. Like, there were some people who thought the Patriots might be good. No one thought the Colts would.
Yeah.
People laughed at the Daniel Jones thing. We laughed at the Daniel Jones thing. I'm done laughing at retread quarterbacks wherever they go, whoever it is, wherever they go. I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm just gonna assume that's gonna work out well. Not that they all do, but this is like, it's pretty remarkable. And yeah, like you said, they should have 2 wins in Los Angeles. Both those games were in LA, which is kind of wild, isn't it? Like in the first few weeks of your season, you have 2 trips to LA.
Yeah.
And you should have won both. And I think they're going to run away with the division. I mean, the Jaguars kind of, speaking of turning into a pumpkin, I think the Jaguars did that a little bit over in Europe against the Rams. I think they're going to fade. They're stupid not playing Travis Hunter where he should be playing, which is on defense, and their defense sucks. Good idea, guys.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. The Texans are just, I don't think they're going to be able to mount any sort of a challenge here. It's pretty wild. So good we have more Colts fans who listen to us than I think any other AFC South team. So I hope you guys are like Ben from Cumberland City and Indy Ben and all you guys. I hope you're enjoying the hell out of this. Jordan and Fran, and boy, you're gonna. I mean, it's almost like I hope you can get some enjoyment out of blowing out the Titans, but it's almost such an obvious, thing that it's like what's the next game?
Why is this game at 3:25? Well, why is Titans Colts at 3:25 on Sunday?
Great
We just wait a little bit longer to watch this thing.
They just randomly put games, that are in the eastern, this side of the country here and there on at that time, but usually it's like a game that looks really attractive going into the year. I feel like,
yeah,
right. And
I don't know why Colts in the late window.
I don't know why this would have looked attractive. I mean, I thought both would stink.
Yeah.
So it's a great question.
I mean, second half of this game has the opportunity to be completely tuned out.
Oh yeah.
Once you get a little bit later in the afternoon, starts to get dark, closer to dinner, they're getting blown out. Like ratings could be rough on this one.
Yeah. I saw the time last week. I was like, wait a minute, the Colts play at 3:25? Why? What's going on out there? Put them on Monday Night Football. That's what they should have done. Let the whole country watch.
Let's have it like how about like a Wednesday at noon game would be maybe something like that. Try to hide this game. Yeah, does this mean that they get a prominent announcing crew for this game? Do we know who the announcing crew is?
I don't know.
I know it's Charles Davis and McCourty.
Okay.
Is it Catalan?
No.
I think
that is correct.
I think it's
yes.
Andrew Catalan with those guys.
Okay.
So it's like a home game for Charles Davis and J-Mac.
Sure.
Tip of the cap to those guys for having to watch this much Titans football.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Goodness.
Yeah.
You poor guys. Well, at least they'll get to see a good team playing too. At least.
Ben from Cumberland City has texted and says, thoroughly enjoying it. Like you, I was apprehensive, but now it feels like the Manning years. Thanks, Joe. Colts fans feeling good.
All right, calm down on the Manning years. Calm down.
Hey, they look pretty
Peyton
good.
Manning?
Look pretty good. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll take your thoughts on Titans Colts, plus some Titans coaching stuff that I want to get into, including something I thought about yesterday that maybe makes me open my mind a little bit more to a combination that I know Rexrode likes. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Yeah, it's the time of year where trade deadline rumors start to swirl. I'm not talking about specific rumors, but do you address that with the team? Do you talk to players about that sort of stuff coming out, or do you kind of just trust them to handle their business and know not to worry?
Well, we have open communications with players about everything. I want to over communicate with the players, but our number one focus right now is this weekend. Everything else will take care of itself down the road, but it's just our focus right now is going to Indy and finding a way to win the game. And players, I've got open door policy. Players and I talk about a lot of things. They're always welcome to come in and talk about things, and I think that's the way it needs to be. You have to have open communication and be upfront with players. And like you guys asked about hard coaching the other day, it's just you be brutally honest with players. And but we are our number one focus right now. We're not worrying about down the road. It's about this week. That's the number one thing.
That's Mike McCoy, the interim head coach for the Titans. Joe, they're worried about this week. Ain't worried about anything else. Worried about trying to go up to Indianapolis to get a win. We'll see how that goes.
Well, that's what you got to do. I mean, that's how you've got to approach it. And I bid them good luck.
Joe, there's an I've been thinking about potential future Titans head coaches. We've thrown out some names, obviously, and we're going to have a lot of time over the next few weeks and months to discuss this. But, I said yesterday, Mike McCarthy at the moment, probably number one on my list. We'll see how the rest of the search will shake out. We'll see maybe who becomes available at the end of the year. That could be somebody the Titans could target, all those things. A lot of information could still change when it comes to the Titans coaching search. I did think about this yesterday after the show. You've mentioned the Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel combination, which I believe Herndon was the first one I saw that came up with this. There's an added element to this that could make this really spicy. Robert Saleh and Liam Cohen hate each other, apparently. They almost fought each other coming off the field a few weeks ago. You imagine if Cohen, pretty successful in Jacksonville, sticks around for a while, and Saleh becomes the next head coach of the Titans. I mean, there's some real potential for spice there between Duval and the Titans once again.
Oh no, it's very good. Now, obviously, that means that Liam Cohen needs to like hang around, and I mean, so far it's off to a pretty good start for him. But yeah, though, you got real potential there. I always have meant to go back and figure this out, but can you tell me again, what exactly did Saleh say that got him so ticked off at the beginning?
I don't know. I know Liam Cohen, was running off the field and basically told him to keep his name out of your mouth. And then I think some footage came out this last week where there was an actual microphone that caught Saleh, and he was basically like, "I'll kill you."
He's like, "I'll end your life."
Yeah, he's like,
I will destroy your every cell in your body. It's like,
no,
whoa,
it was about Saleh accusing them of stealing
stealing
signs.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Stealing signs.
Yeah, which again, is that a big deal?
Apparently, you can legally do it, right?
Yeah,
so,
everybody. That's why everybody does. Again, I mean, I know in the NFL, there's a lot of the stuff that just goes through the headset anyway. But yeah, that's what everybody's trying to do. If you didn't think people were trying to steal signs, why do you have 4 people doing signs?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
only one of them's real.
Well, and I'm just trying to reignite a Titans-Jags rivalry that needs a little juice to it right now. Just get Saleh in here, and he and Cohen apparently are ready to fist fight each other. That'd be awesome.
I mean, do you understand too that Saleh would be right there with whoever, Dan Campbell, Vrabel, whoever you want to talk about, and
he's on the list.
And then would Liam Cohen be 32nd?
LaFleur.
Okay, Liam, that would be a good fight. Liam Cohen and LaFleur. Liam Cohen against Robert Saleh, he actually would end his life in 9 seconds.
He would. He's a big dude.
If this happens, I think Liam Cohen needs to have a press be hey, I really welcome Coach Saleh. Just really respect him a lot. And no, let's hey, we could use we could use anything where the Tennessee Titans are anyone has any reaction other than laughing at them. But yeah, that would be fun. That'd be a nice added little bonus.
I mean, in all seriousness, on the Saleh front, I guess I'm not totally opposed to it. I'd have to really do some digging on the Jets front. I realize it's the Jets. I do. So, at this point at the Jets, I guess everything that goes on there, you just have to really take with a grain of salt, because when people leave there, it's like they experience, it's like getting out of prison. You just experience freedom. you're like, wow, this is what freedom feels like, huh? Awesome. Like, that's what it's like leaving the Jets. And it's no matter coaches, players, quarterbacks, whatever. Like, Rodgers looks like a completely different person in Pittsburgh than he did with the Jets. I mean, Geno Smith, he left the Jets. Sam Darnold left the Jets. Like, you can go down up and down the list of people who have left the Jets, and it's worked out well elsewhere. And Saleh clearly in San Francisco knows what he's doing on the defensive side of things. And I've talked about this. I don't think, you don't have to go out there if you're the Titans and hire some offensive guy. Just go hire the best head coach for you. If that's Saleh, great. Knock yourself out. I like the Saleh McDaniel connection there. We'll see if that's the way it ends up going. But I am like, how good of a head coach is he? That's what you really have to do some digging and get to the bottom of. Because we've also talked about this, Joe. Like, some people are just really good assistant coaches, like really good coordinators. And there's nothing wrong with that. But trying to make those guys head coaches can be problematic.
Yeah. I think that, the thing with Saleh is just, it seems like, and I don't know, I guess this really is like how you look at offensive guys and defensive guys, but he just seems like a great motivator. And he like this year, I mean, like, they've had ridiculous injuries, and he seems to get, I know that when he was there before, obviously, I mean, they had a loaded defense. I think the Niners not too long ago had the best roster in the NFL. But he seems to connect with players. He seems to get the most out of his guys. He seems to be that culture coach, like you said, it's like, I mean, look, stuff happens with the Jets. I mean, some of the stuff with the Jets, like some of his, like, I don't know, trying, like, we're going to find out who's talking to the media, and some of the stuff that he did was like, dude, yeah, you're wasting your time with stupid crap, but you also should learn from that. And yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right. It's like a Jets tax, that you just, or whatever. It just, that's an asterisk. Now, unfortunately, we're getting to the point where that's also becomes a Titans thing too. That'll be interesting. Like Brian Callahan.
Like, as far as I know, at least the Titans haven't made any roster decision based off the game of Madden, as far as I know. So I think they're still probably in better shape than the Jets on that front.
I mean, I'd be all for Amy Adams-Strunk just having a presser be like, yeah, our quarterback, I'm not very happy with him. I mean, at least Woody says some stuff.
He's got a 72 rating on Madden. We got to get that up. That's got to get better.
But yeah, I think he's going to get another shot, and it is. I think if it was somewhere else, then maybe people would be a little bit more hesitant. But he's come right back there, and it's like, man, yeah, he just seems like a head coach. So I don't know. I don't know that I would not put that as my first choice like Kaharski has, but it is intriguing to think about him. And again, Mike McDaniel is going to be. I think he will get an OC job somewhere, and that's where he'll stay. I'm very interested to see just what is Brian Callahan going to get? What's his next job?
Quarterback coach somewhere.
Quarterback coach, probably.
Yeah, some offensive assistant, right? Passing game coordinator, something like that.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah, not an OC job. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, his only play calling was here, and it was bad. And it was bad for a variety of reasons, but it was bad.
Maybe he could be the OC back at Cincinnati.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
I guess that's if they're
see if Flacco saves their job.
Yeah, he might, because it was looking a little rough for Zach there. But actually, yeah, that's an interesting thought. I don't even know who their OC is. Who replaced him? I don't even know.
I have no idea, no clue. But you're gonna fire that? We're bringing is Brian Callahan type guy. It's like you fire your current OC to bring back. It's like, yeah, we got Brian back. Let's go do that.
That was Dan Pitcher. He was promoted from the quarterbacks coach. That's right. I remember
Dan?
that name.
Sorry, man. Got to get Brian back in here.
I mean, I could see him back there, but yeah, like he'd probably be.
Maybe he'd swap. Go back to the quarterbacks coach under Dan Pitcher.
Yeah, he'd be underneath him. But there should be some Titans asterisk, I think, right? But it's not quite the Jets level yet.
We'll see. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Predators head coach Andrew Brunette will join us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. Preds back in action tonight, Game 2 of the 5-game homestand, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. And to help us talk more about that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Predators head coach Andrew Brunette. Andrew, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Doing good.
Well, let me start here. Your beloved Blue Jays in the World Series, taking on the Dodgers. Obviously, tough task coming up to them. We all know how good the Dodgers are, but how are we feeling about the Jays heading into all this?
Well, outstanding. I mean, we shouldn't be here. We're there. It was a great year. You know, you kind of try to take a little bit what the Blue Jays did this year to our team. And, you know, they hung in there all year. They showed great grit and resilience. Anybody watched Game 7. But I watched them all season, and they brought that every night. And it was kind of a special year for them. And they're playing an unbelievable Dodger team. And I expect them to hang in there.
So, Andrew, you know, on the hockey front, you guys obviously dropped 4 in a row here, one of them being in overtime here. And I know the other night you were not happy with just the way the game went defensively, all those things. So, you know, in trying to rebound tonight against Vancouver, what are you looking for from your team? And what do you think it's going to take to get things going a little bit offensively here?
Well, I think we need a little bit of reset. I think the last 2 games wasn't what we showed the first, 5 games, especially last game. It wasn't our commitment to the puck wasn't at a high enough level to win in this hockey league. And, we didn't clean the front of the net up for Juice and give him a chance to be our best player, which he's most nights our best player. And it was one of those games that, wasn't our best. So we got a chance to reset. I think there's good things in all their games up to the Anaheim game. And we just got to get back to doing that. I think, we talk ad nauseum about last season. This isn't last season. This is a new team. This is new players. This is a new time. And I really like the first, 6 games. I didn't like our last game. So that happens in hockey, especially the schedule that we have where we're playing every second night. And we just need to reset and get back to who we are and what we're trying to build here. And that wasn't a great example the other night.
Well, Andrew, with Saros, obviously part of his career has been some great years, but slow starts have kind of been a consistent thing. Why has he been able to come right out like this and play at such a high level?
Well, I think he's, last season, we did not help him. I think we've helped him through this whole stretch, besides last game and a little bit, maybe parts of the Winnipeg game. And we gave him an opportunity to be our best player. He was probably our best player last year at different times. We just didn't help him. So I think we've made a few adjustments to try to help him be our best player. And we need him every night. And, we weren't sharp in front of him. And that's why you get those 2 results we had the last 2 games.
Andrew, I'm interested, like looking at the big picture this year from a scheduling standpoint. I mean, you guys are going to Sweden, and we talked about this a little bit the other night, but you've also got the Olympic break coming up in February, which means the games are just extremely condensed. I mean, this week is a good example of that with 5 games in a very quick amount of time at home. So as a staff, like, how do you guys handle that? I mean, the schedule is what it is, so there's nothing you can do about it, but how do you handle that in terms of trying to balance the games that you're going to be playing in quick succession and also trying to make sure you're getting enough work practicing?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, coaches always want more time to practice, and players need more time to rest. So we've had a game plan from probably this summer that we talked about how we're going to do some things. Obviously, there's ebbs and flows and there's momentum and all those different things you got to think about practicing. But rest is going to be a weapon this year a little bit. There's so many games. Like I think we're every second night, and you throw in, I think, 2 or 3 back-to-backs before we go to Sweden. We have Sweden. So we have some thoughts. We have communication every day. We got David Good, who's our strength guy, who's maybe one of the best in the business, and we talk all the time. And we got to make sure we're rested and we're ready to go. But yeah, no, we've had a game plan. It is a bizarre year for us because of those 2 things, the Olympics and Sweden. So our schedule is even more condensed than most teams in the league. So we have to make sure that our guys have optimal recovery time and rest to keep our energy, because it's night in, night out, as you guys were just talking about.
So you took advantage of the opportunity to get a look at Brady Martin. Now he's, back in juniors. What did you see? What did you learn about him early this season, Andrew?
I think the thing that stood out is how competitive he is. And I think every task or every step that we've gave him an opportunity to take, he took it, which is pretty impressive for an 18-year-old kid. I mean, right from, rookie tournament, you could say he's one of our best players. Through camp, he's one of our best players. And he made the team, and that's really hard to do for an 18-year-old. I don't know if I've been around. Geez, I don't even know if there's one maybe in my career that I was able to play with that was able to take that step and to be in here and he he didn't play poorly whatsoever. I just think for his development and for our plan for where he's going to be for the years to come, he needed to go play minutes and be the best player every night. And this league's hard. And you talk about the condensed schedule, you talk about where we're at. I think he needed to go play, and he's going to go play a lot of minutes, going to have a lot of puck, but he's a highly, highly competitive kid. And that's what probably impressed me the most.
So Andrew, on the power play, obviously, the expectation is for that to improve as the season goes on here. Stamkos was talking the other day about maybe slowing things down a little bit and trying to eliminate the one and dones that have been out there. What are you seeing on the power play, and what do you think is the step you've got to take on the power play to start getting some results there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think maybe a little bit one and done, but I think our pace has to improve. I don't know what the slowing down thing is. I think probably, we can't. He's absolutely right that when you press and when things are going your own way, you start trying to make something out of nothing, and that's what happens in power plays that are not feeling any rhythm or flow. And we're not feeling a lot of flow. I thought we started off good, and then you go a couple of games without scoring, and then, you start, trying too hard or doing too many things out of the ordinary. So I think for us, we just got to get back to basics. I mean, we have some really talented players that will make plays, but when you force things, you try too hard on a power play, it snowballs and it goes downhill really quick. So we just got to reset, probably a little bit like our mindset for our whole game, just reset after last game. We did some, pretty good things, early in the season. The last few games, it hasn't worked out. So we just need to clean that up a little bit. That power play needs to get better. We all know that. It hasn't been good the last 4 games, I would say. So we need to be better, because I think when your top players feel better on the power play, it leaks in their 5-on-5 game, and you get a little bit of flow and a little bit of rhythm, and they'll play better if they feel better.
You mentioned being better in front of Saros. How much better do you feel like this D-core is / can be? I know with Haig, get him going too. How different and better do you think that it can end up this year?
Well, I think we get, we're looking for to get Hager back. Obviously, he's a big piece of, what we did this summer with his size and his presence. I think our defensemen have been really good. Last game was a little bit of a hiccup for us. I didn't think we were very good at all back there. But the whole, the other games before that has been outstanding, in my opinion. It's kind of been the engine that runs our team. We're very mobile. When we're on our game or break out, we play fast. Didn't happen last game. And then we clean the front of Juice's Porsche and sweep it. We didn't sweep it last game. So I think there's a lot of potential. We got a lot of young kids back there, and people got to remember that. There's not a lot of guys that have been here a long time, and there are going to be games like last game, but for the whole season, they've been really good, and I'm looking forward to see them develop and get better. And then, Nick's going to help us back there. I mean, he's a 6'6" body that cleans and a very stable player. So we're looking forward to getting him back. But on the other side, those guys have all played great back there.
Well, Andrew, another one tonight against Vancouver. Looking forward to the game. Looking forward to seeing you later this morning, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, guys.
Andrew Brunette, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Preds taking on the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Game number 2 of a 5-game homestand. You got Vancouver tonight, who is 4-3. Looks like they're going to get Brock Besser back in the lineup tonight. LA on Saturday, Dallas on Sunday, Tampa on Tuesday is the 5-game homestand. So, Joe, that's pretty good teams walking there. And I know, LA and Tampa haven't exactly lit the world on fire so far, but the talent that those teams possess.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I mean it's a huge, obviously you wanted to I mean, look, Anaheim's better too, by the way, but wanted to have a better start, but it's really important. And I just feel like, getting back to like just having more of a home ice advantage and stacking some wins at home. I feel like last year, some of the, home losses early were tough and the way that season went. So very important here, these next few games at home.
If you're looking for a good spot to watch NFL games this Sunday, come by Twin Peaks in Madison, home of the 29-degree beer, and join 102.5 The Game for the pregame show before the Titans take on the Colts. Pregame show brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Old National Bank. We'll have the Rob Rant coming up next. Charles Robinson coming up at 8 o'clock. All that ahead, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
I'm tired of you guys asking me this. Like, this is ridiculous.
I'm finally unmuted. I swear I kept clicking the button.
I mean, Joe's a real drug guy.
PK's uninformed on something else.
Doesn't affect us. I don't even think they want to talk to us.
This dude is an idiot.
It's weird. You know, Ackerman had me running around with greased pigs.
Take off your robe.
Losing's really not in my vocabulary.
This is all bullcrap, is what this is. It is that time of the day. The Rob Rant, brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net. Joe, a couple of different ways I could go today, but with some news this morning, my rant today is simply this. What in the world's going on out there? The latest news from Shams Charania of ESPN. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested early Thursday morning as a part of an FBI sports betting gambling probe, sources tell ESPN. The Eastern District of New York and FBI Director Kash Patel will hold a press conference at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to announce arrests from the investigation. Oh, by the way, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups has been arrested by the FBI for alleged illegal gambling as well. So Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI this morning for alleged illegal gambling. What the heck's going on out there?
That's insanity. You know, I have to believe, Robbie, like that at some point we're going to get to the point where people realize, I probably shouldn't mess with this because like it's actually very easy to track now and be caught getting involved in gambling crap.
Yeah.
Also, like, you know, we've had a lot of like college kids, college players, you know, like players at small programs who have been found out, who have been nailed for this. And again, hopefully it's like these are cautionary tales. Everybody maybe kind of figure it out. When you're, again, I don't know what happened here exactly, so we'll wait for the facts of it to come out and see what went on. But when you get to the point of an arrest, it's like, I got to just ask, like, do you not have enough money if you're Chauncey Billups, if you're Terry Rozier? Like, why would you ever? And again, we'll see. Maybe this is maybe they're completely innocent and this is a mistake. But it's just, it boggles my mind that someone prominent in the sports world who's had like success and has a career that pays what that does, that you would ever even think to ever like look at a gambling app in your life.
And Chauncey Billups is a Hall of Famer.
I mean, that's insanity, man. Again, it's like, so I know some people look at these things and it's like, oh man, it's gotten so much worse. And you know, it is like gambling is so accessible for everybody now, right?
Yeah.
But as far as like, I think what this is telling us is that, yeah, in this new world, like there is oversight now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that might have gone on, you know, sort of unbeknownst to anyone, that it's not gonna happen anymore. You know, when will people figure that out?
Oh, by the way, it was a few months ago, and this is, you know, a different thing. But it was a few months ago when Gilbert Arenas got arrested and indicted after he was operating allegedly illegal high-stakes poker games out of there. Like, it's just, I mean, there's the NBA right now has got a gambling issue, clearly, right? Like, I mean, it's a problem. And I know, look, Arenas has been out of the league for a long time, but you're talking about, you know, pretty good player in Terry Rozier, and now a head coach in Chauncey Billups getting popped for gambling in the NBA. That's not good. So how deep does this thing go?
Yeah. So like, are we talking, I don't know. I have not read, like with Billups, are we talking like point shaving in terms of like,
I don't
know. I mean, the thing about basketball is if you think about the other sports, you know, like, yeah, football. I mean, I guess if you're like a quarterback or something, then you can obviously have a lot of impact on some things, but it's kind of hard, right? Like if you're an official, one holding call or one not called holding call can make a huge difference, but it's hard, I think, for a player. you think about, obviously there's been scandals in all the sports, the Black Sox scandal and stuff like that. But I feel like in basketball, like on the court, point shaving, I think is probably easier to pull off than in other sports.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like if you're out there as a heavy minutes player, you can probably you can have a fair amount of control and just like whatever, throwing the ball out of bounds. I mean, you can do things like that where in its other sports, I think it's harder to control it. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But again, like Chauncey Billups being involved, like how in that is just, I mean, I hope it's not true, but if it is, like what in the world could ever compel you to think about this?
I mean, look, I'm not a legal expert, obviously. I would assume if it's gotten to the point with arrest with both these guys, that there's probably some evidence that they've got when it comes to all this. Like it's like, so it's wild to me that this would happen. Like this has got to be like the worst nightmare for a sports league right now. Like looking at all, they're gladly accepting money from all these gambling companies, right? But deep down, they've got to just be like scared to death, whether you're Goodell or Gary Bettman or whoever, Adam Silver, that this is a problem in your sport, and for the NBA to be popped like this is like again, like are those the only two? Is it Rozier and Billups? Like, does this go deeper than that? How deep does this go in the NBA?
It's a great question, and Adam Silver already not necessarily the most impressive. It's been a tough go following up David Stern here, and boy, talk about an absolute mess on his hands. Meanwhile in college sports, you're opening up so that college athletes can bet on pro sports. I don't know why you'd even go there. Now the lower levels just did the same thing. I don't know. I just don't. I guess basically it's just so hard to enforce. But like I don't understand why that's something that needed to be done. I think in any of these leagues, I think the best look. You have these relationships. It's a total conflict of interest. That's what it is. It is what it is. Like there's no question. But you're not going back. Like the Pandora's box has been opened. But I think you have to enforce. Like you cannot, if you're involved in this league at all, you cannot do any gambling stuff at all. Period. Like, right? Like you have to have that.
I mean, Ian asked me before the show how good the Heat were going to be this year, and I was like, well, I don't know. Now they've lost their guard. He's been arrested by the FBI this morning, so that's a tough blow to the season.
You'd bet on them being worse now.
I would. I will make that bet that they will be worse without Terry Rozier in there. Oh, man, what a story in the NBA. We'll keep you updated on the latest on that front, but Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups have been arrested for alleged illegal gambling. So we'll see what more information comes on that as the day goes along here. We'll be joined by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports coming up next. We will get into the Titans and all things NFL with him. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Thursday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Open the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We will be joined by Charles Robinson here in just a few moments. Get his thoughts on the Titans and all things NFL. So looking forward to that conversation with him. Titans 14.5-point underdogs to the Indianapolis Colts this week on the road. Colts, at the moment, best team in the NFL by the record. Best team in the league heading into this matchup. So we'll see if the Titans can make that a game coming up on Sunday. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. By the way, Joe, Ian sent me this during the break, going back to the Chauncey Billups thing. This is from ABC News. It says, Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups has been charged in an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia. Law enforcement sources told ABC News. An illegal poker operation tied to the mafia, according to ABC News. So that's more specifics on the Chauncey Billups part of this.
Well, that's fun. I will say, and again, this is probably going to sound really stupid, but when has that ever stopped me? Like, I feel slightly better about him running like a high stakes poker game than like manipulating games as a coach, but it's still astoundingly stupid.
It is. So we will see what becomes of that. Having some phone issues right now, trying to get in touch with Charles Robinson, so we will keep you updated on that front as well. Joe, like, you look at the first off NFL games this week. You got Packers Steelers on Sunday Night Football, so Aaron Rodgers playing against his old team. You got the Ravens that are basically in a must-win game against the Bears. The Bears are 4-2, Ravens are 1-5. It looks like Lamar may get back in there this week. If the Ravens don't win, I mean, their season is shot. It may already be, but they gotta start rolling off some wins starting this week. You got the Texans, who you mentioned earlier, at 2-4, trying to hang around in the division, and they're taking on the 5-2 San Francisco 49ers. Very intriguing games in the NFL this weekend, including some teams, like I just mentioned, the Texans and the Ravens, that are back against the wall. They got to win on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Ravens to win it all, man. I'll go down with the ship.
That's bold strategy right now.
Yeah. But I still think that, like, offensively, they can be the best offense in the NFL. Now, their defense, injury is part of the story for sure. I think their defense can be okay. That's probably the best you can hope for. Their defense can be decent. If your offense does what their offense can do, obviously with Lamar, like, if he doesn't play Sunday, then I think you may, like, it just may be. I think you have to probably, even if you're not 100%, you got to get back out there, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, you have to. And because, like, if they can just pick up what they were doing before everything went haywire, they blow the Bears' doors off. Seriously, like, they should handle that game and go up and down the field on them. But 1-5, how much, all the stuff that comes with that, can you actually get yourself off the mat and get rolling? If they can get rolling, I still think they can win that division. I mean, Pittsburgh, we saw, like, Pittsburgh is not, they're not great. They're good. Rodgers is good.
Defense is worse than I thought for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they've given up 30 points or more 3 times this year.
Yeah, it's like a totally different formula for them now. They have to outscore teams. So I still think that division between those two is not over. But I know it sounds silly to say that about a 1-5 team.
Well, like, Jacksonville, you get off to the 4-1 start, and then the last couple of weeks they just haven't looked very good. Like, I still don't know what to make of them, because the Colts are 6. Like, are the Colts going to be this good all year? Like, this good all year long? Because if they are, I mean, they're going to wrap up the division by late November, right? Like, it's going to be over at that point. But if you're Jacksonville and you're trying to hang around in this thing, you're looking at Houston, and everyone, like, Houston's not very good, and they've got a tough schedule. Like, you get that number 1 schedule from last year. Like, I think Houston's in some serious trouble here if you're Jacksonville looking at the AFC South right now, can you hang around and keep it and stay in there with Indianapolis? Like, you were in Europe last week, did not go well. You got the week off this week. What's it going to look like when you come back against the Raiders? Like, you've got the Raiders, the Texans, the Chargers, who are good but are down both tackles, the Cardinals, and then the Titans. Like, the Jags have a real opportunity here with their schedule to hang in there, right? Like, this is a big opportunity for them to hang in the division. Can they take advantage of it, or are they going to pull the same old stuff that they always do because they're the Jags?
Yeah, it's a good question. Definitely a sobering outcome last time out, but sometimes weird stuff happens when you take the flight over there, which, their owner would like them to do for every game.
Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in Charles Robinson to the program. Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports joins us now. Charles, good morning, buddy. How we doing?
I was running late for school this morning. How about that?
Oh,
Jeez.
boy.
Sorry, man.
Boy. It's all good.
Always great. Did you guys look? I know we're going to talk NFL. Did you see the Wemby highlights yesterday?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Guy's unbelievable.
Oh my god.
40 and 15.
I can't remember the last athlete where I watched something and I thought to myself, please don't let that guy get hurt in my lifetime. Like let's see his whole career. I don't remember the last athlete where I thought I want to make sure I see this guy for the next 20 years.
Yeah, he's a freak, and he's put on some weight now, and it's scary to think about what he could be. Speaking of scary, the New York Jets, 0-7. You got their owner talking earlier this week.
Let's talk about this.
In defending their coach, basically just chucking their quarterback under the bus, which, I guess he's technically not wrong, but you don't see owners do that very often. What do you make of just the dysfunction of the Jets, how Aaron Glenn is set up to survive that, and kind of bouncing off that, taking this back to the Titans? People are talking about Robert Saleh here too. Like, do you just have to discount him with the Jets as a head coach because it's the Jets tax? Like, how do you view all that?
Yeah, I kind of feel like, he's, sort of the remark I made last week about Cleveland. Like, there's this feeling like when people leave that organization, they get better. And it was funny when he said what he said about Fields at the owners' meetings. Man, you want to talk about former Jets employees dining out? Oh my gosh, man! My phone was blowing up. Just like so many people who are so glad to not be in that organization anymore. Who are like, see, this is it. Like, this is, this isn't the off season. Like, it's fine. The owner wants to criticize the quarterback. That's one thing. But if you do that, you do it in April, right? You do it in the spring meeting. You do it, you don't do it for week 7. You don't do it in season, because then that kid's got to walk into the building and know that eyes are on him and everybody's staring at him thinking, well, you're toast. The owner basically just said you're the problem, and whether it's true or not, and there's some legitimacy to it, but it just doesn't help anything in that scenario at all. And, so for Woody to do that puts Aaron Glenn in this spot where I thought it was interesting. Aaron Glenn comes out and says, he knows who the starter is, but he doesn't want to say it. And then he mentions that Tyrod Taylor's kind of got a knee he's dealing with. And Andrew Siciliano and I were talking about this yesterday. And I said, I think he just creates space for himself. Aaron Glenn did. He's like, leaves the option on the table that if he wants to try to keep pushing it with Justin Fields, despite the owner, because how else do you play him, right? After what Woody says, it's like, if you start him after that, the natural question is, the owner says this quarterback's the problem, and now you're continuing to start the quarterback. So what? Now it's a thing between Aaron Glenn and the owner, right? And it's just, it's such a train wreck there. And like I said, there were so many former people who went through that organization who are just texting, along the lines of like, yeah, see, this is it. This is what it's like to deal with this in this organization with this guy. And, some people are going to say, well, you guys are all talking out of both sides of your mouth. You want people to be honest, and you want people to talk. And then when they talk and they're honest, you want to criticize them for it. I understand that, but there is a way to go about things, and this is certainly not it. You don't need the after an 0-7 start, you don't need the owner coming out and basically saying, "Hey, it'd be great if we could complete a pass," And Woody even, it was interesting. I was talking to somebody who was there, and Woody even after he said all this, and then there was some time, he was approached again later. Like it was like a half an hour later, and you're thinking maybe he'll walk back some of this or try to tone it down. No, not at all. Like it was just he kept going, and it's just if they don't end up with the number one pick in the draft, I would be shocked. And at this stage, I look at it, and it's not like the defense is good. They do have there's talent there. The special teams, is decent. What he's saying is not necessarily wrong, but I just don't know how with that kind of level of dysfunction you win a game at this point if you're the Jets.
I just want to make sure I heard that right. You'll be shocked if they don't get the number one pick, because I won't, because I got another team that I think has a real good chance at it.
I mean, look at this. I mean, you tell me after seeing that. Now, if there's a change at quarterback, who knows? I mean, I guess, what's Tyrod Taylor worth? A couple of wins, I guess, maybe. But I think people there are just so beaten down with how everything has gone. And now with Aaron in there, and I think there's a feel too, like, Aaron's, he's made some mistakes. He's learning on the job. He just didn't need this extra negativity. And it's funny because I also think they're selling this idea of like, well, go look at, Dan Campbell's first 7 games. Go look at him like, man, like the talent is different. Like we're not, come on, man. You can't sell that this is just, it's Dan Campbell reincarnated in New York. And, it's just, but I'd love to hear this other team that you're going to talk about. Are we going to talk about the Titans? Is that what we're talking about?
I think that's it.
Who else would it be? I mean, they had a hell of a chance to not win another game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, go ahead though. Let's go into let's get neck deep into that.
Well, no, but actually, I just think that they're both horrible, and I think it's going to be a hell of a race. But let me ask you on Saleh though, like with the Jets thing in mind, that he's obviously, and he's gone back. I mean, obviously he's been very impressive. They've had tons of injuries, still performing at a high level. He seems to be like a good, culture coach and all that stuff. But what about the fantasy pairing that people are throwing out around here is Saleh head coach, Mike McDaniel OC. I assume first of all, do you think that pairing could work? And also, I assume Mike McDaniel, as bad as it's gotten with them and for him, that he's still going to be valued as an OC, right?
It's hard for me to answer it because I haven't asked people like, hey, do you think he just goes back to being an OC again? Or is this does Mike have to go back to being like run game coordinator and then, figuring out what he's going to look like on another staff? I don't, if he loses this job in Miami and he's offered an OC position, I would be stunned if he didn't take it. Because I don't think that Mike is going to be now. Obviously, it's dependent on what's the opportunity. Like there's much more measurement. Obviously, when you lose a head coaching job, you want to make sure the next job you take is, especially when agents are very much behind this. They're sitting there going, "Look, man, let's make sure we get you into a position where you can rejuvenate yourself fairly quickly." Just like when Robert Saleh goes to San Francisco and healthy, you look at that unit and the fact that he's known in the organization, that's the natural place for him to end up. And then you see kind of what the results are. Even with injuries, he's been able to, really make hay very quickly. So would he take an OC position? I would think he would. Would he take an OC position with the Titans? I don't know. I'd have to ask that question. Give me homework, Joe, and then maybe I can come to you and tell you.
There you go.
He always gives me homework like 10 minutes before the show.
Yeah, he's like, what do you want to talk about 2 minutes before the show comes on?
Yeah. Can you call Mike McDaniel and ask him if he'll take the Titans? I'm like, Sure, Joe. Right now. Let me call him.
Text him right now. You're on the air. Come on. He's probably not busy.
Let me get him on air right now.
I'm sure they're having a
We're at it,
players-only meeting that he's not involved in right now, so why not?
Let's make sure we get Cleveland back on the show, too. So you guys can spend the day at Cleveland.
We're big in Cleveland.
Social media. Ask me some more Browns questions.
Big in Cleveland.
Again, I think if he's offered an offensive coordinator job, he has to consider it. I think the fact that, there's knowledge there, there's connective tissue between him and Robert Saleh, having worked in the organization in San Francisco. And there's a respect level, I think, for what Mike brought to the table when he was in San Francisco. I would never rule that out. I would say this: if Robert gets a job offer this quickly, that would be really impressive. He's done a good job, no doubt, in San Francisco. I'll tell you this: when he came out of the Jets, and again, it's Woody, so take it with a grain of salt. But what Woody was so frustrated with him was, and it's funny because you can see in Aaron Glenn hire, Woody always felt like Robert was not as fiery in the Jets job as he was in the San Francisco job. Like he thought, hey, the Jets, when Christopher, because I think Woody was actually in the UK as the ambassador when Christopher hired Robert. He thought he was getting the fiery sideline guy, all this stuff. And then he comes to the Jets and he felt like Robert kind of lost that edge. Like he just didn't have the same, sort of passion that you could see in San Francisco. And I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it's again, when you get into the Jets, you find out you can't spend money. You find out there's just like a multitude of things you have to deal with. And I think that affects guys, but, I'll ask you this. So you think that if you're looking at the Titans job, you would pin it on a defensive guy, even though you have Cam? Because I just assume that front office,
not necessarily,
particularly when you're trying to turn the corner with Cam, you're trying to get an offensive guy. You don't think that's the case?
I don't think it has to be. I think, they're not going to rule it out.
Sure.
But I think
Vrabel
whoever they,
okay.
Yeah, I think whoever they think the best person for the job is, regardless of the background, I think they're going to hire.
But here's the thing about Vrabel, and it was funny because I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. Vrabel is good at hiring assistants. Like he
sometimes.
Sometimes, right? But we saw OCs go through there and leave and have success. Even guys, look, LaFleur. I remember LaFleur got hired by Green Bay. I was like, I can't believe he got the Green Bay. I don't know if they were fully happy with, the OC job he was doing in Tennessee. And yet we've seen LaFleur be who he is. Obviously Arthur Smith. I think if you have to have the ability, if you're going to hire a defensive coach, these guys have the ability to hire good offensive minds that can shape Cam. And then not only that, when you lose those good offensive minds, you have to have the ability to then replace them. Who was I talking with about Detroit and how I felt like Detroit turned a corner because of how the coordinators are performing this year. And some of it's the talent too, obviously, but the great upper level, franchises that can consistently produce success can replace coaches with good coaches. And, that's really, really key. And I think that's a skill. When you go to hire a head coach, you have to ask yourself, can this coach, if we're going to lose our guy for a quarterback, our OC, can we replace that OC with another OC who can continue to develop the quarterback at the level that we want? So I would think about that before you throw your lot in with a defensive coach. Even if it is Robert Saleh at this point, you need to know that he can continue to bring a pipeline of OCs in there. One name I'll throw at you that's kind of interesting. Look, John Harbaugh, I'm curious to see how this plays out in Baltimore. I really am. And part of me is because I think about, off the top of my head, I think Andy Reid went 14 years in Philly. I think Pete Carroll went 14 years in Seattle. There's some other coaches off the top of my head that had long stints with teams, and you saw it it just went dry. The message went dry. It went dry with ownership. It got stale with ownership. It got stale with the team. it got stale with the front office, and it just felt like maybe we need to shift gears here. I wonder if we're getting that, to that point with John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. There's a lot of football to be played here. I could be totally off base, but I do wonder if maybe John Harbaugh is the one that, you guys asked me, I think last week, you said you threw Tomlin and Stefanski at me. And let's keep an eye on John Harbaugh and kind of where that goes, because behind Tomlin, he's had 18 years there. Tomlin's had 19 in Pittsburgh, but Harbaugh is the one where I just wonder with what's going on with Lamar. There's certainly some people chattering across the league that are curious whether or not John Harbaugh ends up being the Ravens coach in 2026.
Very, very interesting.
Ian, please clip that up and send that to our friends in Baltimore sports.
Yes, please do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a Baltimore radio hit me up. Hey, on the morning show tomorrow.
That's right.
And by the way, so
welcome.
Listeners know this. Like, I don't want to say I duck radio in Cleveland, but you try to maintain your relationships in a franchise as best as possible. And I've at times not taken opportunities to go on Cleveland radio because I know it's damaged. It's created problems with me. But then they kind of some people in Cleveland stalk me for this appearance, and then they bring it over to Cleveland, and then I still get kind of flack from hey, it's not helpful what you're saying on Tennessee radio.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, awesome.
Shout out to our friends in Ohio listening this morning. So, Charles, let me throw this one at you. Is Jerry Jones in the same season going to have traded Micah Parsons and traded for Max Crosby? What do you make of that?
So here's the deal with Crosby. He is Mark Davis's favorite player. People need to understand that with the Raiders. It's not even close. I can remember being at practices, and Mark Davis will sit up. There's kind of this platform where he sits up and oversees practices, he's Chairman Mao, just taking the landscape in as they practice. And I've seen he and Max interact during practices. That's Mark's dude. I think Mark thinks Max is cool. The Raiders mentality that Mark is still chasing because of his father Al. I think he feels like Max fits that. He loves Max. And what I've always been told, this is going back a couple of years now, because it's come up with Max, particularly before he signed his extension the last couple of years. It's hey, they're not going anywhere. Are they going to deal this guy? And what I was always told consistently, and it's through a couple of different regimes, he's untouchable unless Max decides hey, it's getting late in my career. I want to go win a Super Bowl. It kind of feels like we're spinning our wheels here. If he goes to Mark and says, can you find out, I would really like to be able to go and play here, that could potentially change things. But if Max isn't doing that, and it's from my understanding he's not at all, he's not going anywhere. So I do think the Cowboys have interest. There's no question about that. I talked to a number of people throughout the league, kind of shaping up the trade market around a week ago. And to a man, they all said the same thing. The Cowboys are looking for a plus level defender. And certainly there is a solid amount of speculation. I bet you they go after Jeffrey Simmons. I bet you they go after Trey Hendrickson, and Crosby, I think, is probably becomes an extension of that. I don't know who Trey Wingo counts as sources, which he's obviously the one who put it out there, but there's no doubt they're going after a defensive player if they can get the right guy that they feel can make a difference. And I do feel it's probably most likely a pass rusher to create pressure. I just don't think it's going to be Max Crosby, and it's kind of been stepped on pretty hard everywhere at this point. But yeah, you got to know if you're going after Max Crosby, you have to hope Max Crosby wants to get out and wants to come to your team, because I think that's the only way it's going to happen, at least in the next couple of years.
So going back a little bit to your Harbaugh bombshell there, Charles. It sounds to me first of all, well, it sounds, because I just said earlier on the show, I'm I know it's crazy, but I still think they get Lamar back and they can win that division.
Sure.
But I want you to tell me right now, you have to make this prediction right now and stand by it. Who is going to be the number one seed in the AFC this year?
Oh, come on, man. In this season? You kidding me right now? You asked me this without me sitting, like being able to look at this.
That's what he does.
You want my answer? You want my answer?
Yeah, let me hear your answer first. I want to hear this.
A little outfit called the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh man, of course. Come on, man. Come on. Like it's just, this is.
Well, I'm just saying, but it is crazy, though, right?
You want to? Rob, where are you on this, man? You're gonna let him just do this, and you're gonna sit there and let Joe stick his chest out.
That's what he does.
The Kansas City Chiefs, because they're.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, like people have kind of put some dirt on them, right? And I feel like they're
Joe.
good.
Joe, the best record in the NFC right now is 6-1. The Chiefs are 2 games behind that. And we're only 7 games through a 17-game season.
He also thinks the Philadelphia Eagles are going to make the playoffs too. So keep that in mind.
Well, no, but the point is that the AFC's crazy, and I wanted you to stick your chest out and say the Colts. I mean, the Colts look like a freaking wagon right now.
Well, I mean, the great thing is we get to see them like in November. They face each other, so that'll be a lot of fun. And you're right, the Colts are a wagon, but I'm taking the same vantage on them as I took the Vikings last year, which is like eventually I thought when the chips are down, Sam Darnold's going to run into something that turns him. Everybody always, makes the analogy to him turning into a pumpkin. Yeah, I mean, like now he's had negative moments already this season where I thought, okay, this is where it snowballs, and it hasn't. So that's good. And they're by far, I think they're a super balanced team. When you watch them, you're like, man, they can really do everything. Play great defense. They can run the football, no problem. They're throwing it, and he is activating guys on the roster who went completely dormant under Anthony Richardson. And Tyler Warren's just, man, I think back and I'm like, man, I had conversations with people where I kind of argued that maybe Colston Loveland was a better NFL prospect than this guy. Stupid. Like, he's just, the guy's ridiculous. I mean, he might be he might be the best tight end in the league right now. We're talking top 2-3 guys. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of balance there. Plus, they play in the division that they play in. Sorry, Titans fans, but it is a super weak division.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna say that though, Joe, and somebody wants to be gutsy, pick the Patriots.
Yeah,
like pick the Patriots. They're 5-2. Their schedule's cream. When you look at it, you're like, man,
Vrabel's screw it up. Vrabel's gonna screw it up.
I know, but I mean, if you're gonna really, put it up, I get where you're coming from, because when I watch the Chiefs, I'm like, oh man. Ever since the Lions win, you're just like, yeah, these guys feel like they've really dialed it in. Rashee Rice stepped in, instantly made the impact we thought he could. They're running the ball better now, even though I still would like to see them address it at the trade deadline with a player. Really, the only thing I think that could, ruin this is if there's say Mahomes gets banged up, which has happened at times down the stretch, or there's an offensive line injury. Like, the offensive line, I'm still not completely sold on. And obviously there's some weird stuff going on with the rookie they drafted. I mean, it's, that's the one thing that I think is still sort of the chink in the armor. But I do believe in parity this year. And even with the Chiefs kind of cranking it up, I still think this is a season where every single week we just watch the team that we think is probably the best ends up losing a game. But yeah, I mean, the fight with the Lions at the end of that game, I kind of felt like the Chiefs were activated. And I'm begging, man, I hope they see each other in the Super Bowl. That would be, it would just be great, because I do think there's legitimately kind of bad blood between these two teams, and I think the Lions would like another shot at them in the Super Bowl.
Charles, awesome stuff, man, as always. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. Enjoy the football this weekend, and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. Hey, Joe, next week, can you come with a prediction that is a little less obvious? Just something, anything. And also,
the Lions won't make the Super Bowl. How about that?
Awesome, man! You're just everybody's tuning in. They're like, "Have you heard this guy? He's like, he can see the future."
This guy's amazing.
Have a good,
thank you, Charles.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
We'll react to what Charles had to say there. We'll make sure we make Charles famous in Baltimore this morning. Coming up next as well. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
One name I'll throw at you that's kind of interesting. Look, John Harbaugh, I'm curious to see how this plays out in Baltimore. I really am. And part of me is because I think about, off the top of my head, I think Andy Reid went 14 years in Philly. I think Pete Carroll went 14 years in Seattle. You know, there's some other coaches off the top of my head that had long stints with teams, and you saw it it just went dry. You know, the message went dry. It went dry with ownership. It got stale with ownership. It got stale with the team. It got stale with the front office, and it just felt like maybe we need to shift gears here. I wonder if we're getting that, you know, to that point with John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. There's a lot of football to be played here. I could be totally off base, but I do wonder if maybe John Harbaugh is the one that, you know, you guys asked me, I think last week, you said you threw Tomlin and Stefanski at me. And let's keep an eye on John Harbaugh and kind of where that goes, because behind Tomlin, he's had 18 years there. Tomlin's had 19 in Pittsburgh, but Harbaugh is the one where I just wonder with what's going on with Lamar. You know, there's certainly some people chattering across the league that are curious whether or not John Harbaugh ends up being the Ravens coach in 2026.
That's Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports on with us in the last segment, discussing John Harbaugh there and the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, things have not gone well for Baltimore so far this year. Injuries have been part of that, both on the defensive side of things and most recently with Lamar Jackson. But a team that was right near the top of the list of Super Bowl favorites heading into the year is right now 1-5. So what is that going to mean for John Harbaugh and the Ravens as the rest of the season goes on here? Joe, what'd you make of that? Maybe keeping an eye on the Harbaugh situation in Baltimore.
Well, I know that when it's been brought up, maybe by us, by him, by whoever, people are quick to like jump all over that. And I don't know if that's Ravens fans or whatever. Like, there's some people like, are you kidding me? But listen to what he said there. It makes sense. There is a timeline sometimes. And so maybe this ends up being, and certainly if there's actually like any sort of issue between Harbaugh, like if you talk about a coach has a shelf life voice and all that stuff. I think Harbaugh's excellent, but if he and the QB are having issues, I mean, the QB is the most valuable commodity in that franchise by far. Right? I mean, it's not close. I mean, he's got many years left of being one of the top players in the NFL, and you can find another coach. So that's really, really intriguing. And if they don't start turning it around, if Lamar doesn't play Sunday and they don't blow the doors off the Bears like they should with Lamar on the field and get it going the other direction, you know, negativity just builds. It snowballs. Both things can snowball. You know, both ways can snowball. And so I hadn't really given it too much credence, I guess, before this, but yeah, I think you have to take it seriously. Now, then the next question would be, okay, well, if John Harbaugh gets to the market, this is where, yes, the Titans are one of, the Titans are one of 32. They're going to get a viable, good candidate, but they're probably not going to get that guy.
No, like John Harbaugh getting fired, let's say, or whatever would happen in Baltimore, like he's the type of guy that somebody would fire their coach for, right? It's probably the same thing with Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Like, you fire your coach to go get that guy. So I would doubt very seriously that he would be coming here at that point. But, you know, what it would do, Joe, like if you're the Titans, you want as many coaches to be available as possible. Number one, for your own search and, you know, going through the options that you have to go through in this process. But number two, like the more people like Harbaugh and Tomlin or whoever else, and, you know, Tomlin's in first place in division right now and may make the playoffs again, so we'll see. But like you want as many of those people available as possible because it makes more quality of people available for your job, right? Even if you don't land Tomlin or Harbaugh or whoever, like you still get your pick of the litter of the other guys. So that's good news for the Titans at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I mean, flood the zone, you know, flood the zone with guys like that. And yeah, like you're going to end up with a better situation or not a better situation necessarily, but a better possibility, better choices. So absolutely. That's wild. Because I think Harbaugh, I mean, frankly, you know, Jim is obviously a very good coach and also a cheater, but very good coach. I think John's a much better coach than him. You know, I just think there's a certain level of like stability there And he just has I think a way with players, and just, and obviously he's had a tremendous, to Charles's point on the staff thing, which I think is a very, good thing to bring up. What is your talent in terms of I mean, he's had to replace a bunch of coordinators, both sides of the ball, and he's done it very well. And that is a question for Saleh or somebody like that if they were to come in. But I was a little surprised that Charles was surprised that we aren't just talking in this town about the offensive guru coach, because that's not at all the case. And I don't think it should be the case.
Well, I think most national reporters would be surprised by that, though. Like, it's a natural connection to make of Cam Ward. You've got what will be a second-year quarterback next year, like doing everything you can to maximize him. And by the way, I mean, the Titans could do that, right? Like the Titans, I know that, we tend to operate around here. Well, they just hired like the offensive guru, so they're definitely not going to do that again. That's why people have like largely turned their nose up to Joe Brady when we've had those conversations, who may end up being a great candidate, by the way. Like, just because the last one didn't work out that way doesn't necessarily mean you can't go back down that well again and hope that it works out. But I think most people around the league, if you ask them the style of coach the Titans are going to hire, offense would probably be their answer. My only point is, I don't have a problem with an offensive head coach. I don't have a problem if that's where they ultimately end up going. I just would not just limit yourself to that if I'm the Titans.
Yeah, there's plenty of coaches in the I mean, there are good quarterback situations in the NFL that don't have that. So, yes, retention is key. Like, like what Dan Quinn, is he going to lose Kingsbury? I mean, maybe this year, if it's not what they want, he won't. But also then Kingsbury becomes Bobby Slowick. They start blaming him, But that is something he may have to do. I mean, the thing about Vrabel is it's an amazing situation for him, because he's got a guy who's never going to get another head coaching opportunity, but who obviously does his job as OC well. That's the dream scenario. I do kind of think Mike McDaniel might be that kind of guy. I feel like the way things have gone with the Dolphins, although they had some, good years with him, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be skepticism about him as a CEO moving forward. So he might just be pigeonholed as an OC the rest of his career, which would be good for you if you're like a team that wants an OC and not lose him.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More your reaction to what Charles had to say about John Harbaugh, plus some potential big recruiting scoop on the Vanderbilt front that we will get into coming up next as well. DVD with Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Vengen will be live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall this Monday prior to the Monday Night Football game. Monday night's matchup is the Commanders taking on the Chiefs. Plus, Vanderbilt coming up this weekend, taking on number 15 Missouri this Saturday at First Bank Stadium. Pregame at 1 o'clock on 102.5 The Game. Kickoff at 2:30. Vanderbilt football brought to you by Gary Force Acura, Jimmy Kelly's Steakhouse, and Smoky Mountain Tops. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. I got some tickets to give away. A 4-pack of tickets to AEW presents Dynamite and Collision at the Pinnacle coming up on Wednesday, November 26th. The caller 615-737-1025. Caller number 4 will win a pair of tickets, actually a 4-pack of tickets to AEW presents Dynamite and Collision coming up on November the 26th. Also, make sure you check out our NFL game of the week, the Giants and the Eagles at noon this Sunday on Sports Talk 830. NFL game of the week presented by Circa Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. Joe, shout out to Robbie Weinstein putting a little news out there that apparently there is at least some mutual interest between Vanderbilt and Georgia 5-star quarterback commit Jared Curtis, which could be a local guy, obviously. Could be very interesting development there on the quarterback front. So, obviously he is committed to Georgia at the moment, but potentially, maybe, a flip could be in the future to Vanderbilt. Joe, what do you make of that Robbie Weinstein, friend of the show, put out there?
Yeah, well, Nashville Christian, for people who don't know, and an absolute, a big-time,
really
big-time talent. Who we were talking about who would replace Pavia. Now, I would stylistically, I don't know that Jared Curtis would fit that bill, but when you're that good, you can run that offense and you can do some different things, and that's what good coaches do, right? They any offense in this country would take him to run it. So as a prospect, and you have to work, and you will see what happens in college. But let's think about this conversation. And because, again, obviously there's NIL and stuff, but this is what happens. There's still some things about recruiting that are like they've always been, which is you got a team that starts winning. People get excited about it and want to be part of it. Think about the conversation of Vanderbilt flipping Georgia's 5-star quarterback commit. I mean, it's absurd. And I don't know that it's happening. The report by Robbie is that they're trying to do it, right. And he was on campus recently. Someone on their board said that Pavia apparently was at one of his games recently, which is interesting. Get a little, hey, Diego, while you're here, do a little recruiting too, buddy. Before you're gone, man, we get, let's get everything we can out of you. I mean, it's pretty wild to think about. So, we'll see. Now, I think there was a point where he committed and then he sort of said he was shopping around. I don't know. I think that happened. I mean, the word commitment is pretty funny.
Never done anymore.
Yeah. In college sports, but yeah, what a development, and who knows what'll happen, but just again, for that to be a viable possibility that Vanderbilt get in there and this kid would do again, in the past century, it's like you hang up the phone laughing. Right?
It's wild.
And now it's so look, so imagine getting him if you're because you know what happens when you're a program that gets a quarterback like that, you get a stud receiver and running back too sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And other players who follow. So
we'll keep an eye on it
over on the West End.
We will keep an eye on it. That does it for us today here on the program. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. This is 102.5 The Game.